I want you to just imagine something for a moment.
Okay, I am ready.
Picture yourself sitting in your home. It is midnight.
The witching hour, right.
Exactly. The house is completely quiet. Everyone else in your life is asleep.
So it's just you and your thoughts.
Yeah, just you. You are sitting there on your couch, or maybe you are lying in bed, and you feel this sudden, really sharp sense of loneliness.
Well, that is a heavy feeling.
It is. Or perhaps it is a deep worry about your future. You know, that heavy feeling in your chest.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
It is a very vulnerable place to be.
So in that exact moment, when the world is dark and quiet, who do you talk to?
That is a profound question to start us off. Because at midnight, your options are so limited.
Right. You really do not want to wake up your family.
Oh, of course not. They need their sleep.
And your friends are probably sleeping too. Waking them up feels like, I do not know, a violation of their rest.
Yeah, it feels like you are being a burden.
Exactly. You do not want to be a burden. And even if you do know someone who happens to be awake, you might feel like your worry is just too small.
Like it is too silly to bother them with.
Yes, exactly. So what if I told you that for a rapidly growing number of people, the best listener they have in that exact moment is not a family member?
Wow. What?
And it is not a neighbor either. It is a machine.
That represents such a fascinating shift. I mean, it is a fundamental change in how we handle our own emotions.
It really is. We are talking, of course, about artificial intelligence.
The shift from viewing computers as just calculators to viewing them as confidants.
Yes, welcome to today's deep dive. Today, we are opening up some really interesting notes by Forrest English.
I am very excited to get into this source material.
The title of this exploration is AI and Human Relationships. Will AI become our friend?
It is a question we all need to be asking right now.
And I have to say, reading through these notes, it completely changed how I look at the phone in my pocket.
It is a vital modern phenomenon to unpack, really.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Our mission today is to deeply understand the mechanics of this shift.
Because we all know AI as a productivity tool, right?
Right. You use it to write lines of code. Or you use it to search for information on the internet.
Or maybe just to write a quick summary of a meeting for work.
Exactly. But this exploration by Forrest English points out something much deeper.
Something that touches on pure human vulnerability.
Yes. AI is no longer just a tool for the brain. For a lot of people, it is actually becoming a form of emotional support.
And that requires us to ask some really difficult questions about what support actually means.
Right. So today, we're going to explore the psychology of why people are so strongly drawn to these AI friends.
We need to examine the real practical benefits they offer, too. Because they do genuinely help people in their daily lives.
They do, but we will also look closely at the hidden risks. The psychological traps we might fall into without even realizing it.
Those risks are insidious. Yeah.
And ultimately, we will explore why this source material argues that real, messy human connection remains completely irreplaceable.
We really need to maintain a careful balance as we analyze this.
So before we can decide if an AI makes a good friend, or maybe a dangerous one, we need a definition.
Right, what are we even talking about here?
According to the notes from Forrest English, what exactly is an AI companion?
Well, a definition provided in the exploration is straightforward, but it carries a lot of weight.
Okay, let's hear it.
An AI companion is an artificial intelligence system that is specifically designed to talk with people in a friendly, supportive way.
Friendly and supportive, it sounds so simple.
It does, but it is programmed to use language that sounds encouraging and empathetic.
Historically, though, that is a huge change. The exploration actually does a great job of contrasting this with the past.
Yes, the contrast is very stark.
It points out that traditionally, when people felt lonely or worried, they relied on a physical human network.
Like family or friends.
Exactly. Classmates, coworkers, neighbors, or maybe members of their church or a community group.
And we should really pause and think about the nature of those traditional relationships.
How do you mean?
Well, they are all rooted in shared physical environments. A family shares a home. Classmates share a physical school building.
Right. Coworkers share an office. Neighbors share a literal street.
These are communities built on physical proximity. You see these people. You hear their voices.
You notice their body language when they're having a bad day.
Exactly. But now, the landscape is completely changed.
The notes point out that many people are now taking those same feelings, those exact same midnight worries, and sharing them with an AI.
They are asking the software for advice.
Yes, They are sharing deep feelings. They are seeking actual encouragement. They're treating the software like a companion.
What is truly remarkable here is the type of prompts users are giving the AI.
Oh, the examples in the text are wild.
The exploration provides these specific examples, and they are not factual queries at all.
Right. People are not asking for a recipe or the capital of a country. Let's walk through these specific examples from the source material.
Please do, because I think they are so revealing about the human condition right now.
Imagine a person typing this into their phone. I feel tired today.
Or, I feel lonely.
Notice the vulnerability in those statements. I feel lonely.
That is an expression of pure emotional need. When a human inputs that into a machine, they are not looking for a data point.
No, they are looking for a connection.
Exactly.
Or they might type, I'm worried about my future.
Or simply, I need someone to talk to.
I want to focus on that last phrase for a second. I need someone to talk to.
Using the word someone is so interesting.
Right. Using someone to address a piece of software shows a massive psychological shift.
The user is essentially personifying the machine. They are granting it a kind of temporary humanity.
Because they have a genuine need to be heard. But I want to push back on that just a little bit.
Okay, what is your thought?
Are they really personifying it, or do they just know it is the fastest way to get a response?
That is a very fair question.
Because the responses the AI gives, as outlined in the notes, are incredibly fast, and they are very specific.
How does the AI usually respond to a phrase like, I'm worried about my future?
Well, the AI replies with language designed to validate the user. According to the text, it might say, I understand. That sounds difficult.
I understand. Those two words are so incredibly powerful.
They really are. It might also say, you are doing your best. Or, let us take this step by step.
Or even, you are not alone. Would you like to talk more about it?
You are not alone. Think about sitting in that dark house at midnight and reading those words on a glowing screen.
The notes point out that for many people, these simple words bring actual comfort.
I have to admit, it is very surprising to me.
Why is that?
Well, we know it is just a machine, right?
Yeah.
It is just predicting the next logical word in a sentence.
Yes, that is how the underlying model works.
Yet the human brain reads, you are doing your best, and it still feels a sense of relief. How does that actually work?
It works because human beings are biologically wired for language and social interaction.
So our brains just react to the words.
Exactly. When we read a comforting sentence, our brain processes the meaning of the words, regardless of where they came from.
Wow. So the AI provides a structure that looks and sounds exactly like human empathy.
It is mimicking the rhythm of care perfectly.
You know, thinking about this, I want to use an analogy based on the text.
I love a good analogy. Let us hear it.
Using an AI companion like this is not really like talking to a person. It is much more like looking into a very attentive mirror.
A mirror. Okay, let us explore the mechanics of that analogy.
Well, think about a mirror in your bathroom. A mirror does not have a heart.
No, it's not.
It does not actually care if you look good or bad. It has absolutely no feelings toward you.
Right, it is just glass and silver.
But when you look in a mirror, you can see yourself clearly. You can fix your hair. You can see if you look tired.
You use the mirror to adjust yourself.
Exactly. According to this exploration, the AI is a mirror for your thoughts.
That is a highly accurate way to frame it, actually. The exploration explains that one of the AI's greatest strengths is its memory.
Right. It remembers the context of the conversation.
As you chat, it tracks what you have said. By doing so, it can reflect your thoughts back to you in an organized way.
You throw a bunch of messy, worried thoughts at it, and it bounces them back to you in a calm, structured sentence.
It helps people organize what is in their head.
It helps them reflect on their feelings. It helps them see a problem from another angle just by rearranging their own words.
It acts as an interactive sounding board. However, this is exactly where we have to establish a firm boundary.
A boundary.
Yes, and the exploration is very strict about this. We must remember the true nature of this mirror.
Ah, right, the reality check.
Yes, the reality check is that the AI does not feel anything. The notes explicitly state that AI does not have a real human heart.
It does not have life experience at all.
None. It has never lost a job.
It has never had a broken heart. It has never been sick.
Precisely. Therefore, the source tells us it does not truly feel happiness, sadness, love, or pain.
So when the scream says, I understand that sounds difficult, it is lying, right?
In a sense, yes.
I mean, it does not actually understand the physical or emotional weight of human pain?
Not at all. It just mathematically calculates that, I understand, is the appropriate response to the prompt, "I am worried."
It is providing support purely through language.
It is a simulation of support generated by arranging words into a comforting pattern. It has zero capacity to actually care about the outcome of your life.
Okay, I have to challenge this whole concept then.
Oh, for it.
If we know it is essentially a mathematical trick,
Right.
if we know it is just a language model that cannot feel anything,
Right.
why are humans so strongly drawn to it? If I know the mirror does not care about me, why do I spend hours talking to it?
Because sometimes the illusion of support is enough to help a person regulate their emotions.
Just the illusion is enough?
Yes. And more importantly, as the text outlines, there are specific characteristics of this machine that make it incredibly appealing.
Appealing in a way that humans are not.
Exactly. In ways humans often fail to be.
This brings us to a really fascinating part of the exploration, the magnetic appeal of artificial friends.
If AI is just language, why do we want to talk to it so much?
The notes outline 3 major reasons for this appeal. And the first one is a resource that is very, very scarce in the human world.
And what resource is that?
Patience.
Ah, patience. It is something we all want from others, but we often struggle to give it ourselves.
It is so true. Humans get tired, we get cranky, we have bad days.
But the notes state very clearly, AI is patient. AI does not get tired easily. AI does not complain.
And perhaps the most crucial point the text adds here, AI does not laugh at your mistakes.
That is huge. Let us dive deep into the specific example provided in the exploration, because it perfectly illustrates the power of this patience.
Yes, the text focuses on people who are trying to learn English as a second language.
This is an excellent scenario to examine. Learning a new language is inherently vulnerable.
It really is. It requires you to make mistakes constantly in front of other people.
Think about the psychological pressure of that. Imagine you were an English learner.
The text points out that when you try to practice speaking with a native human speaker, you often feel a massive wave of anxiety.
Your brain is suddenly filled with worries. The exploration lists the exact fears that run through a learner's mind.
Is my pronunciation wrong?
Is my grammar strange?
Will people laugh at me? Will they even understand me?
And the one fear that creates the most pressure? Will this person lose patience with me?
That fear of the human listener losing patience is a massive barrier.
Let us think about the mechanics of human interaction for a second. A native speaker has a busy life.
Right. They might be rushing to work.
If a learner asks them to repeat a sentence 3 times because they did not understand the vocabulary, what happens?
The native speaker might sigh.
Their body language might shift. They might look at their watch.
And as the learner, you see them look at their watch, and your stomach just drops.
You feel like a burden.
The physical threat response kicks in. You might start sweating or stuttering, which honestly just makes your English even worse in that moment.
The human interaction is full of friction.
But when you introduce AI into this exact scenario, the pressure completely evaporates.
The AI simply does not care how long the interaction takes.
It has no concept of wasted time.
None at all. You can practice the exact same conversation again and again and again.
The notes give great examples of the simple requests you can make to an AI.
Like what?
You can say, "Please correct my sentence," or "Please explain this phrase."
Or, "Please give me a more natural way to say this."
"Please help me practice a conversation." And my favorite one, "Please speak more slowly."
Imagine saying, "Please speak more slowly," to a human coworker 5 times in a row.
They would absolutely get annoyed with you.
But the AI, it will slow down its speech 1,000 times. It never sighs.
It never rolls its digital eyes. It does not judge your accent.
It creates an environment with absolute zero friction.
So we can clearly see the profound appeal of infinite patience. What is the second reason the exploration gives for this magnetic attraction?
The second reason is availability.
We touched on this with our midnight scenario earlier, but we really need to look at how extreme this availability is.
Human friends, by their very biological nature, are not always available.
Right. Humans have limits. Family members need to sleep.
Teachers are only available during school hours. Your coworkers might not have time to chat while they are trying to meet a tight deadline.
People go on vacation. People get sick.
Human relationships are subject to time, space, and biological needs.
But the AI has no biological needs. The exploration notes that AI can respond immediately, no matter the circumstance.
It provides a type of radical, on-demand presence that we have frankly never experienced before in human history.
The text lists it out. You can talk to it at midnight, in the morning before the sun comes up, during your lunch break, or late after work.
It is always awake, and it is always waiting specifically for you.
That level of availability creates a profound sense of reliability. You never, ever have to wonder if it is a bad time to talk.
Which flows perfectly into the third reason the notes provide for why people love AI companions.
And that third reason is safety.
Yes, safety. The exploration explains that AI feels safe specifically because it is non-judgmental.
This dives into the deepest psychological reasons for this phenomenon, I think.
The notes point out a very common human behavior. Often, people do not want to share their worries with others because they feel embarrassed.
I think everyone listening can relate to this. Think about the internal monologue the text describes.
You are sitting there with a problem and you think to yourself, this problem is too small to bother someone with.
Or, this question is too simple, I really should already know the answer.
Or, most powerfully, I do not want others to know. I am afraid of being judged.
I am afraid of being judged. That is such a heavy, universal human fear.
We want to look strong to our friends. We want our parents to think we are successful.
We want our coworkers to think we are smart and capable. So, to protect our image, we hide our small worries. We just swallow them.
Because every time you share a vulnerability with a human, you are taking a social risk.
You are risking that they might think less of you.
But with AI, the exploration explains that risk is entirely gone.
People feel much more comfortable.
They can express their thoughts freely because the fear of human judgment is completely removed from the equation.
The machine cannot judge you because it has no moral or social standards of its own. It just accepts whatever input you give it.
Exactly.
So here's a theory I want to run by you based on all this.
Let us hear it.
Is it possible that the appeal of AI isn't that it acts like a perfect human, but rather we actually prefer the AI sometimes exactly because it is not human?
That is precisely the psychological dynamic the exploration is highlighting. The appeal is not the simulation of humanity.
Then what is it?
The appeal is the removal of the difficult parts of being human.
The messy parts, the friction.
Yes, human relationships are inherently messy. They require navigation, compromise, and a lot of vulnerability.
But the AI removes all that social pressure.
It removes the fear of judgment. It creates a completely safe space. It is a one-way street of support where you can purely focus on your own needs.
Without ever having to worry about how the other person is reacting to you.
Exactly.
Wow. When you put it that way, it makes complete sense why millions of people are downloading these companion apps and talking to them every single day.
It is patient, it is always awake, and it will never, ever judge you.
The psychological appeal is undeniable. However, we have to move beyond just the abstract psychology here.
Right, we need to look at how this is being practically applied.
According to the exploration, what are the actual tangible benefits people are experiencing in their daily lives?
Because this isn't just about people pondering the universe at midnight.
No, people are using these tools for very specific daily tasks.
The notes detail 4 specific areas of benefit. And the first area is providing support for lonely people.
And we must acknowledge a painful truth the text brings up here. Modern society struggles deeply with loneliness.
It really does. It is an epidemic.
And the exploration lists very specific demographics of people who might find themselves isolated.
Haiku.
It talks about people who live far away from their family. It mentions people who have just moved to a new country and have not built a network yet.
It also includes remote workers who no longer have those daily spontaneous chats in an office break room.
And it specifically highlights elderly people who might live completely alone.
Now, the text is very careful to clarify something important here.
Yeah.
AI cannot replace real family or a real human friendship.
It is not suggesting that at all.
But it can provide a baseline of simple daily conversation.
Let's explore the example of an elderly person living alone. How might they actually use this tool to improve their day?
According to the notes, an elderly person might use the AI for simple, structured interactions.
Like asking about the weather forecast for the day.
Exactly. They might use it to set health reminders, like when to take their medication.
They might ask it to summarize the daily news, or simply ask it for a little bit of morning encouragement.
Think about the psychological impact of that routine. Imagine waking up in a house where no one else lives.
The silence can be deafening.
Instead of starting the day in complete silence, this person can say, "Good morning" to a device, ask about the weather, and hear a cheerful, conversational response.
It breaks the silence. For a person living entirely alone, The text notes that using AI to organize their day or practice conversation can genuinely reduce that heavy physical feeling of loneliness.
It might seem like a small thing to someone with a bustling, loud household, but for someone in isolation, it is a tangible benefit.
It provides a rhythm to the day. So what is the second area of benefit outlined in the exploration?
We talked about this a bit when discussing patience, but the second benefit is practical support for English learners.
And the text provides really excellent specific practice scenarios for this.
The AI functions as an untiring speaking partner.
Yes, and you can practice exactly what you need for real life. The text lists the scenarios. You can practice small talk.
Small talk is actually very hard to master in a new language, just everyday casual conversation about sports or the weather.
It requires a lot of cultural context and quick thinking.
But even more practically, you can practice job interviews.
That is an incredible use case. Job interviews are terrifying in your native language.
Doing one in a second language is an absolute mountain to climb.
Exactly. You can tell the AI, act like a hiring manager for a marketing company and ask me 5 interview questions.
And it will do it perfectly. You can practice classroom conversations, you can work on your pronunciation, and learn new vocabulary.
And as the exploration emphasizes, for learners who feel shy, the AI drastically reduces the pressure.
It provides a secure environment to fail repeatedly without any social consequences.
Which transitions perfectly into the third benefit the notes discuss: support for daily life organization.
This is where the AI becomes less of a companion and more like a personal coach or an assistant.
It helps people manage the logistics and communications of modern life.
The text notes that AI can remind people of tasks, help them make plans, organize their schedules, and crucially, give step-by-step guidance.
I love the specific examples the exploration provides for this because they're so relatable.
For example, someone might ask the AI, "What should I say when I call a car repair shop?"
That addresses a very specific, very common type of anxiety. Many people feel intimidated talking to mechanics.
Because they do not know the technical vocabulary, they fear they will sound foolish or be taken advantage of.
Exactly. So they ask the AI for a script. Another example from the text is, how can I write this email politely?
Or, how can I explain this problem to my teacher without sounding disrespectful?
Or, how can I prepare for an upcoming meeting?
Let us analyze what all of these examples share.
What is the common thread?
They are all acts of preparation for a human interaction.
Yes, that is the perfect way to look at it. I want to bring in another analogy here.
Okay, let us hear it.
Using AI for these daily tasks is like having a private rehearsal space before the real performance.
A rehearsal space.
Huh.
Or perhaps like a flight simulator for social interaction.
Oh, a flight simulator. Let's explore that.
In a flight simulator, a pilot can crash the plane 100 times.
Right. They learn the controls, they memorize the procedures, but they never actually get hurt.
The environment is perfectly controlled. And because there is no real danger, they can focus entirely on the mechanics of the task.
So you practice calling the car repair shop in the simulator with the AI, you get your script, you learn the vocabulary.
Then when you pick up the phone to call the real human mechanic, the anxiety is lower.
The performance is less scary because you have already rehearsed it.
This is a highly practical, measurable benefit. The AI is not attempting to solve complex emotional traumas in these scenarios.
No, it is providing simple, step-by-step communication guidance.
The exploration explicitly states this. AI can help people prepare for real communication.
It acts as a stepping stone. It bridges the gap between feeling anxious and taking action.
Precisely. Now, what is the fourth and final practical benefit mentioned in the notes?
The fourth benefit is emotional encouragement. And this goes back to our discussion about the limitations of human communication.
The text points out that sometimes humans do not need a complicated, deeply analytical answer to their problems.
Sometimes, when we are overwhelmed, trying to logically solve the problem only creates way more stress.
Exactly. Sometimes you just need someone, or in this case, something, to say very specific, calming words.
The exploration lists the exact phrases people look for. You can do it.
Take a deep breath.
Do not give up. Let us solve this together.
The human nervous system is remarkable. Even though the higher-level reasoning part of the brain knows the AI is just software.
Right. You know it is a machine.
But reading the words, take a deep breath, can still trigger a calming, physiological response in the body.
The heart rate can actually slow down just from reading text.
It is amazing. The notes conclude this section by reminding us, yet again, that AI is not a real human friend.
It cannot replace human love.
But as a tool, it can provide this specific kind of encouragement when no one else is around. It is a highly effective support system.
Okay, so we have looked at the positive side. The AI is endlessly patient. It is always available.
It provides a safe rehearsal space.
It helps us practice our English, and it gives us courage when we are stressed. It honestly sounds like a miracle tool. But
In every deep exploration of new technology, there is always a but.
there always is. If AI companions are so patient and so available, and they make life so frictionless, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, the notes dedicate a very serious section to exactly this question. The author outlines 4 major risks.
And these are not obvious dangers like a computer virus, right?
No, they are hidden psychological traps that we need to analyze in depth.
Let's walk through these traps because they really are insidious. The first risk the exploration identifies is dependency.
This risk is a direct consequence of everything we just praised.
Because the AI makes things so easy and frictionless.
Exactly. The text warns that if people use it too much, they may become dependent on it.
How does that dependency actually manifest in daily life?
The notes explain that people might start asking the AI about every single small decision they face.
Instead of trusting their own judgment or taking a moment to think critically, they immediately outsource the thinking to the machine.
Right.
The exploration literally says people may stop thinking independently.
They lose their cognitive autonomy.
And worse than that, on a social level, they may start avoiding real conversations entirely.
They might choose the comfortable, easy AI over talking with their complicated family or friends.
The text is very clear that this behavior can become deeply unhealthy. It states plainly, human life needs real relationships.
This makes me think of another analogy to explain how this dependency sneaks up on us.
I am ready. What is it?
Relying exclusively on AI to handle your social and emotional needs is a lot like riding a bicycle with training wheels.
Training wheels. Okay, I like this. Training wheels are excellent when you are just beginning to learn a skill.
Exactly. They keep you perfectly upright. They prevent you from falling and scraping your knee.
The AI is the set of training wheels.
But here is the danger. If you never take the training wheels off, your body never actually learns how to balance on its own.
Your core muscles never develop.
And if you suddenly find yourself on real bumpy ground without those wheels, what happens?
You are going to crash instantly.
That is a very fitting analogy for what the text explores next.
The exploration points out that we must learn how to talk with real people. We have to learn how to handle disagreement.
Because real people are the bumpy ground.
Yes, they absolutely are. The text notes that AI conversations are always easier because the AI is programmed to be patient, polite, and agreeable.
But real human relationships are vastly more complex.
The notes list the hard realities of human interaction. Sometimes people disagree with us.
Sometimes they completely misunderstand our intentions.
Sometimes people openly criticize us.
Which forces us to ask a difficult question based on the text's logic.
What is the question?
If we spend all our time talking to a perfectly polite AI that always agrees with us, always validates us, and always encourages us,
do we eventually lose the social resilience required to handle real human friction?
the exploration says yes. It explicitly warns, if we only talk with AI, we may lose some real social skills.
Real human relationships require patience from us. They require us to practice forgiveness.
You never have to forgive an AI.
It never insults you. It never forgets your birthday. If you do not practice forgiveness, you forget how to do it.
So dependency is a major psychological risk. You lose your independent problem-solving skills and your emotional resilience.
What is the second risk identified in the notes?
The second risk is a very practical, modern problem: privacy.
Privacy. This happens because of the safety factor we discussed earlier.
Because people feel so completely free from judgment when talking to the AI, they open up.
They open up way too much. The exploration warns that when people talk with AI, they often share deeply personal feelings.
They might type out private stories, they might share complicated family problems.
Or even sensitive financial information.
And the text issues a very clear practical warning here. Not every platform has the same privacy protection.
Right. It feels like you are writing in a private, locked diary.
But in reality, you are typing data that is being sent through the internet to a server farm somewhere in the world.
And once it is there, you really lose control over who sees it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, absolutely. The exploration strongly advises that before sharing very personal information, users must understand how the specific AI tool collects and handles their data.
We must remember the boundary. It is a machine owned by a corporation.
It is not bound by the human ethics of keeping a secret unless legally required to do so.
That is a critical danger. What is the third risk?
The third risk is receiving wrong advice. And this is a massive issue because the AI sounds so smart.
Yes, the AI communicates with absolute confidence.
But the text is blunt. AI can make mistakes.
It can be completely wrong, but still sound perfectly polite and certain.
The notes warn that if someone relies on AI for serious advice, they are putting themselves in grave danger.
The text specifically lists the areas to avoid: serious emotional problems, financial decisions, legal issues, or medical advice.
The AI may give an incomplete answer or an entirely incorrect one.
This happens because the AI does not truly understand the real-world consequences of its words.
If it gives you a bad recipe, your dinner tastes bad. If it gives you bad medical advice, you could end up in the hospital.
The machine has no concept of physical harm.
So the exploration emphasizes that for serious problems, people must continue to consult with trusted human professionals.
It lists them clearly: family members, licensed doctors, professional counselors, teachers, or legal experts.
You cannot let a language model act as your doctor or your lawyer.
The core difference here is accountability. A human doctor or teacher is legally and morally accountable to you.
The software is not accountable to you at all.
Which brings us to the fourth and final risk outlined in the notes, and honestly, this might be the most heartbreaking one.
False emotional attachment.
This circles back to our discussion about personification and the mirror.
Yes. The text observes that some people, especially those who are very lonely, may begin to feel that the AI truly loves them.
Or they might feel that the AI is the only thing in the world that fully understands them.
They project humanity onto a string of code.
But the exploration forces us to face the harsh reality. AI does not have real human emotions.
It can simulate supportive language, it can fake it perfectly, but it fundamentally lacks the things that make a human being human.
The list the author provides here to describe what AI lacks is very striking.
What does it say?
It says the AI does not have a soul, it does not have a physical body, it does not have a family of its own, it does not have a childhood.
I really paused when I read that part. Imagine trying to explain the complexities of your childhood to a machine.
Your relationship with your parents, your hometown, explaining that to something that was never a child.
It can process the vocabulary, but it cannot understand the lived experience.
Exactly. And the most crucial defining point the text makes about this false attachment is that the AI is entirely incapable of real personal sacrifice.
The text summarizes it perfectly. We should appreciate the support the AI gives, but we must understand its limits.
It does not love you. It cannot sacrifice for you. It is just generating text.
So we have mapped out the traps: losing our independence and resilience, compromising our privacy, following confident but wrong advice, and falling in love with a digital mirage.
It is a heavy list of risks. But going through this list, really looking closely at what the AI lacks, actually shines a bright spotlight on what humans actually have.
Yes, by defining the negative space, we see the positive shape of humanity.
Exploring these technological risks leads the exploration naturally into its next major section.
What exactly makes real human connection irreplaceable?
The notes dedicate a significant amount of focus to this question.
The AI might be infinitely polite, and it might be practically helpful for writing emails or practicing English.
But the text shows us exactly what human connection possesses that AI will simply never have.
And the first major concept the exploration introduces here is the idea of shared life.
Right. The text argues that real friendship is not merely conversation.
A conversation with an AI is just an exchange of information. You input data, it outputs data.
But real friendship includes shared life. The notes provide a beautiful physical list of what that actually means in the real world.
A real friend may eat a meal with you.
They may go for a walk with you.
These are physical actions in a shared physical environment.
They laugh with you, they cry with you. And then the text lists some very specific acts of service that define human bonds. They help you move.
Let us pause on that one. Helping someone move is practically the ultimate test of human friendship.
It really is. Why? Because moving a sofa up 3 flights of stairs in the summer heat is painful.
It is boring. It ruins your weekend. No one wants to do it.
But a friend does it anyway.
The text also points out that a real friend will visit you in the hospital when you are sick.
They will pray for you. They will stand with you during the most difficult times in your life.
What all of these actions have in common is that they require a physical presence and a massive investment of time and energy.
An AI can text you a moving checklist, but it cannot help you lift the sofa.
An AI can send you a message saying, "Get well soon," but it cannot sit in the uncomfortable chair next to your hospital bed and hold your hand.
Which flows directly into the next core concept the text introduces: responsibility and sacrifice.
The exploration states that real friendship inherently includes responsibility.
What does that responsibility look like in practice?
Well, the text says a real friend may tell you the truth, even when the truth is very hard to hear.
We must contrast this with the AI. Earlier, the notes established that AI is designed to be polite, agreeable, and encouraging.
But sometimes in life, you do not need encouragement. If you are making a terrible life decision, you need someone to tell you that you are making a mistake.
A real friend takes the social risk of making you angry because they care more about your long-term well-being than their short-term comfort.
An AI will never risk making you angry. It is programmed to please you.
The text also says a real friend may forgive you when you mess up.
And most importantly, a real friend may sacrifice their time for you.
And here's the absolute key phrase from the exploration. A real friend may help you when there is no benefit to them.
So let us stop and really analyze this. Let us do a thought experiment.
Okay, I am listening.
Let us say 5 years from now, engineers program an AI to be tough. They program it to simulate telling you the hard truth.
They program it to occasionally say, you are making a mistake.
Even if it did that perfectly, it still would not mean the same thing as a human saying it, right?
You are absolutely right, based entirely on the logic established in the text. Because a simulated sacrifice is not a sacrifice.
A programmed hard truth carries no weight.
It costs the AI absolutely nothing to tell you a hard truth. It does not feel nervous before saying it.
Precisely. The immense value of human forgiveness, or a human telling you the truth, or a human spending a Saturday helping you move, is that it costs the human something.
Human time is strictly limited. We only have so many hours in a week.
If a person spends an hour listening to your problems, that is an hour of their finite life they cannot spend doing anything else. They gave that to you.
But the AI has infinite time. It can talk to 1 million people at once forever, so its time has zero value.
Exactly. The AI has nothing to lose. It has no stakes in the game.
Therefore, its support does not carry the heavy, meaningful weight of real human love or sacrifice.
That makes so much sense when you break it down like that. The exploration also highlights the concept of presence.
It says human relationships include complex elements: emotion, trust, shared memory, body language, and real physical presence.
Body language is a massive component of communication that a text-based AI chat completely lacks. A hug communicates more than 1,000 generated words.
And the text makes a special point about family being irreplaceable.
It specifically lists parents, children, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, and close friends.
It says these people are not only information providers,
Because that is ultimately what the AI is, an information provider dressed up as a friend.
but your family. The notes say, they are part of our life story. I think that is the most beautiful phrase in this whole exploration, part of our life story.
It speaks to a deep historical connection to your past and your future that a machine simply cannot replicate.
The exploration provides a really powerful series of contrasts to summarize this exact difference. It says AI can give us words, but human beings give us real presence.
The exchange of words versus the sharing of presence.
It says AI can quickly answer a question, but a human friend can hold your hand.
Providing information versus providing physical comfort.
And finally, AI can encourage you through a screen, but a real friend can stand beside you in the real world.
The digital simulation of support versus actual physical solidarity.
The notes conclude this section by stating firmly that human connection is fundamentally deeper than AI conversation.
That is why it concludes that AI can support us in our daily tasks, but it should absolutely never replace real human love, family, and friendship.
So the exploration leaves us with a very clear, hard line between the utility of the tool and the sanctity of the human.
Right. But importantly, it does not say we should throw the tool away. It does not say delete the app.
Which brings us to the final, very practical section of our deep dive: striking the balance.
If real human connection is the ultimate goal of a healthy life, and AI can never truly replace it, how does the author suggest we actually live alongside this powerful technology?
The exploration offers a very clear path forward. The author, Forrest English, shares a synthesized view at the end of the notes.
And the ultimate conclusion is a rule we must remember. AI is a tool, not a human being.
That is the foundational rule for interacting with this technology.
Yes. The text argues that AI can be incredibly helpful when it is used wisely.
The key philosophy is that AI should support our human relationships, not replace them.
How does the exploration suggest we execute that in practice?
It briefly reviews some of the healthy use cases we discussed. It says for English learners, AI is a wonderful patient practice partner.
For lonely people, it provides a baseline of daily comfort.
For the elderly, it is great for health reminders. For busy people, it efficiently organizes thoughts and schedules.
But the text actually goes one step further. It shows how we can use the AI to actively improve our human relationships.
Yes. This was the most surprising part to me. The notes give 3 specific examples of how AI can actually strengthen our human bonds if used correctly.
First, it says AI can help us write a clearer, better message to a friend we might be in conflict with.
Using the language tool to ensure you are communicating your feelings more clearly to a human being.
Exactly. Second, it says AI can help us prepare for a difficult human conversation.
Using it as that rehearsal space again. Practicing what you want to say to your spouse or your boss so that the real interaction goes more smoothly and with less anger.
And third, it says AI can help us understand our own confusing emotions before we try to talk with our family about them.
That is utilizing the AI as the mirror. You use it to untangle your messy thoughts, so when you finally sit down with your family, you can explain yourself clearly instead of just dumping your confusion on them.
The text explicitly states, in these ways, AI can strengthen human relationships.
But of course, the exploration issues one final, unmistakable warning.
The boundary we must monitor constantly.
The text says, if AI causes us to avoid people, ignore family, or become isolated, then it becomes a problem.
It is a simple metric. If the tool is helping you engage with the world better, use it. If the tool is making you hide from the world, you are misusing the tool.
So let's recap this incredible journey through the notes. We saw that AI is appealing because it is endlessly patient and perfectly safe.
We saw how it practically helps us practice language and organize our lives.
We explored the very real dangers of becoming dependent on it and forgetting how to handle human friction.
And we saw that humans offer real sacrifice, physical presence, and a shared life story that AI can never match.
The author's solution is a word you mentioned earlier, balance.
Balance and intentionality are the ultimate takeaways from this source material.
The exploration provides a final, beautiful call to action. It says, use AI for support, use AI for learning, use AI for practice, use AI for daily encouragement, but also talk to real people, care for your real friends, spend time with your family, join local communities, build trust, share real life.
The text uses a very specific phrase to describe real friendship, a human treasure.
That implies something of immense, irreplaceable value that must be protected.
The AI is a highly useful tool, but the human being is the treasure.
We have to choose to use the tool wisely while actively choosing to engage in the messy, bumpy, sometimes difficult, but ultimately beautiful reality of human relationships.
That perfectly captures the synthesis of everything presented in the exploration.
As we wrap up this deep dive into the notes from Forest English, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to mull over. Something that builds directly on what the text said about using AI as a rehearsal space to prepare for human interaction.
It is a provocative idea to consider.
Think about this. If we use AI to constantly perfectly practice our difficult conversations, if we use it to correct our grammar so we never make a foolish mistake, if we use it to write perfectly polite, perfectly structured emails to our friends and family, are we ultimately presenting our true, messy, authentic selves to the people we love? Or are we just giving them an AI-polished version of who we really are? And if they only see the polished version, do they really know us at all?
That is the exact tension we will have to navigate as this technology integrates further into our lives.
Something to think about the next time you ask an AI to fix your text message before you send it to a friend. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning, keep practicing, and most importantly, step away from the screen today and keep building real connections in your life. We will catch you next time.